For years, we have seen the media, especially Western media, the tourism sector, and other commercial interests make millions by romanticizing poverty in India. Romanticizing poverty is appealing since it implies the poor can cope on their own. We have also read many reports about poverty in India in recent times and how poverty in India has gone up between 2012 and 2020. But how many of us have taken the time to understand what exactly poverty is? Fundamentally, the concept of poverty is associated with socially perceived deprivation with respect to most basic human needs. This is according to a 2009 report on poverty estimation chaired by the late Professor Suresh Tendulkar. This is a crucial definition to consider since the Tendulkar Committee's estimation method is the last official recognized method for arriving at poverty numbers in India. But if you think about it for a moment, there are two kinds of poverty: relative poverty and abject poverty, sometimes also referred to as absolute poverty. Under relative poverty, poverty is deemed relative to those around you. It's essentially about how you are relative to those in your surroundings.
आ गया। आज मेरे पास बिल्डिंगें हैं, प्रॉपर्टी है, बैंक बैलेंस है, बंगला है, गाड़ी है। क्या है तुम्हारे पास?
For example, with 1,000 rupees in your pocket, you may be rich if those around you have no more than 100 rupees with them. But in another setting, say around those who have no less than 10,000 rupees with them, you will come across as poor. So, in a nutshell, as long as there are variations in the income and wealth levels in a society, there will be poverty. But apart from the relative nature of poverty, it's also important to understand the concept known as abject poverty. This state of poverty is very different from relative poverty. Abject poverty refers to a state where a person is unable to meet their most basic needs, such as eating the minimum amount of food to stay alive. So now, after understanding the difference between relative poverty and abject poverty, let's understand the meaning of the poverty line. From the point of view of policy making, poverty levels typically refer to some level of income or expenditure below which one can reasonably argue that someone is poorer than the rest of the society. The point of policy making, especially in India, is largely to improve the living standards of the poorest in the country. But to design policies, one must first know what the target group is. How much does it earn or spend? Since robust data on income is not easily available nor accessible. This is done by choosing a poverty line or a level of income or consumption on expenditure that divides the population between the poor and non-poor. So why do we need to define a poverty line? Like with anything in life, if you want to improve upon something, you need a metric that helps you differentiate between nice and not so nice. The same way, the purpose behind choosing a poverty line are several. Firstly, it helps the administration in accurately designing policies for the poor. How? Let's imagine a hypothetical situation where there are 5 people in an economy: A, B, C, D, and E. Suppose the total GDP or income of the country is 100 rupees and that they earn 35 rupees, 30 rupees, 20 rupees, and 5 rupees respectively. In such a country, if you were the government, your likely policy focus would be D and E. That is a poverty level of 40%. So this allows the policymakers to target your policies towards the 2 poorest people in the country. Often, such welfare policies are redistributive in nature, such as giving subsidized food grains or providing some kind of social security like Manrega. In an ideal world, a government would have the resources to help everyone in the economy. But in reality, even the governments work within some financial or budgetary constraints, right? So the poverty line helps the government identify who needs the welfare schemes the most. Poverty estimates are not just important for academic purposes, but are also crucial to track the impact and success of various government policies, especially social welfare schemes that are intended to eliminate poverty. If, for instance, over time the overall GDP doubles, but the income of D and E remain the same or go down, then the government would know that its policies are not bearing fruit. The policies are not working, they have something to work upon. Poverty estimation paves the way for poverty elimination that in turn prepares the ground for a just and equitable society. So, how is poverty in India estimated at this point? The current official measures of poverty are based on the Tendulkar poverty line, fixed at daily expenditure of 27.2 rupees in rural areas and 33.3 rupees in urban areas. And for obvious reasons, it is criticized by many for being too low. What can any human being do with a meager sum like that in today's time? There's an urgent need for intervention in this matter. And as per the latest findings, the poverty levels as well as the absolute number of poor people had risen between 2011 and 12 to 2017 and 18. And what are the reasons behind the rise in poverty? There are a bunch of reasons behind the rise in poverty in India. Just to mention a few of the reasons, first one being the rapid growth of population. Growth of population exceeds the rate of growth in national income. Population growth not only creates difficulties in removal of poverty, but also lowers the per capita income, which tends to increase poverty. The burden of this reduction in per capita income is borne heavily by the poor people. Population growth at a faster rate increases labor supply, which tends to lower the wage rate. So it's obvious, when the supply for workforce is higher, the demand will be a little more restricted. The employer will have more power because he has more options. Moreover, due to continuous rise in population, there is chronic unemployment and underemployment in India. There is educated unemployment and disguised unemployment. Poverty is just the reflection of unemployment. And in recent times, there has been a big blow to an already fragile situation. The impact of COVID on the economy and the poverty levels has been brutal. COVID-induced lockdown sent millions of people and workers back to villages seeking मनरेगा work at minimum wages.
लॉकडाउन के चलते अब हमारी जॉब थी, स्कूल में पढ़ाने का काम था, तो चूँकि स्कूलों का जो है लॉकडाउन के चलते स्कूलों के अंदर भी बच्चे आना बंद हो गए, स्कूलें भी बंद हो चुकी है। तो मालिकों के द्वारा कहे जाने पर भाई अभी काम नहीं है, तो इस चक्कर से हमें मजबूरी बस नरेगा के अंदर अप्लाई करना पड़ा। हम जैसे बेरोजगारों के लिए राहत भरी खबर है कि हमें इस संकट के समय इस जीवन और आर्थिक संकट में जूझने के लिए एक संजीवनी बूटी में मिली है। इसके लिए सरकार का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
The coronavirus pandemic may have shrunk India's middle class population by 32 million and driven 75 million below the poverty line in 2020, according to a Pew Research Center report. And the report also said a severe recession walloped Asia's third largest economy. In conclusion, the pursuit of becoming Vishwaguru can get hampered if the administration doesn't contain the dramatic rise in poverty. It must be accepted to go back to the debate that it is abject poverty we are talking about. Almost a subhuman level of existence of the majority of the fellow Indians we cannot continue to ignore anymore. The government needs to swing into action and pull the bureaucracy out of the slumber. The bureaucrats and the government officials desperately need to implement poverty alleviation schemes that already exist. Schemes like Prime Minister Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi, Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandan, National Nutrition Mission, also known as Poshan Abhiyan, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. All of these schemes that already exist need to be implemented properly at the grassroots for things to improve. I hope this video helped you understand more about poverty levels in India, at least to some extent. So I'll see you in the next video and I'll cover more topics like this which pertain to the Indian society. Thank you.